All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to another live stream here at the Sports Corner at Choose Adventure Media. My name is Zach, and in today's episode, I'll be playing the Notre Dame at Miami game that's set to take place week one. It's going to be August 30th at Miami. Should be a really interesting game, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so as always, gonna just go ahead and go through the roster real quick. So going to start with Notre Dame here. So CJ Carr, I believe, will be the starting quarterback for the Irish this year. Officially, it's still a quarterback battle between CJ Carr and Kenny Minchey. And apparently in fall camp, both of them have been throwing interceptions and not looking too awesome. But I think it's kind of a smokescreen. I think the starter is going to be CJ Carr ultimately. In the spring game, he looks really good. Everything I'm hearing is for a redshirt freshman, he has a great mindset, just very mature and just kind of gets it and is very smart. I've been hearing very positive things about Kenny Minchey too, but I think ultimately CJ Carr will be the starting quarterback for the Irish, especially week one at Miami. Then I think this could be the best running back room in the entire country, probably the only one that rivals that of Penn State with Nicholas Singleton and Allen. His first name's escaping me. It starts with an M or starts with a K. But Jeremiah Love obviously goes into the year. I believe he's a preseason All-American. And honestly, a favorite for the Heisman. Love the way he runs. He's finally going to be healthy. In that playoff run last year, he was banged up and had the flu. So I think he's going to be. I think he's going to put on a show this year, and I'm really excited to see what he does. Jadarian Price, with Jeremiah Love being injured in the playoff run, had to step up and play a big role as well. And then Aeneas Williams, I don't think is getting enough credit. He looked great in the game against Penn State and Georgia. So I think they have a very solid 1-2-3 punch here in their running back room. And they are all extremely physical, which is very entertaining to watch and very Big Ten Midwest football. That's the one thing about this Notre Dame team is expect a lot of physicality. Marcus Freeman has done a very good job of kind of getting guys that fit that system of just being physical and gritty and tough. And these three running backs definitely fit that mold. The wide receiver room is improving. Malachi Fields, they bring over from Virginia, 6'4", big guy. He should play a big role in this offense and is going to be a great target for a young quarterback. Jaden Greathouse, obviously we saw what he did last year in the playoff run as well. They have him listed as a speedster, which, yeah, he does have great speed, but dude is physical too. He is not afraid to put his nose on a DB and run block. Absolutely love Jaden Greathouse's game. Not sure how well it'll translate to the NFL and such, but he's an amazing college wide receiver, and he's really entertaining to watch. And then Jordan Faison, same thing. We saw him step up big last year in their playoff run. The tight end room's a little bit lacking just by Notre Dame standards. These guys have all been on the roster. You know, none of them are transfers, but they're seniors. 6'7", 6'5", that's great size. And again, you want as big a targets as you can get for a young quarterback, especially week one playing against a talented Miami team. Their offensive line, I've heard, is their offensive line's going to be really good. Knapp, we saw him play a lot as a true freshman just because, again, their offensive line got bit by the injury bug last year. He got injured, I believe, in the game against Penn State, but he's extremely talented for a young guy. Really entertaining to watch, really smart, really holds up that Notre Dame standard on the offensive line. That's just kind of the thing about this team is last year they were bit by the injury bug hard. So I think they had the opportunity to play a lot of young guys. So as a result, I think these guys that they have starting this year, while they may not have been the starters last year, they got a lot of good snaps. So I'm not too worried about, returning production on paper for the Irish. Very talented in offensive line. So this offense is really going to be how far can CJ Carr take all these powerful weapons. I don't think he'll have to do much just because of how good their run game is and how good their offensive weapons are, wide receiver and tight end and such. And also, I just think CJ Carr is really good. Like he has a phenomenal touch on the ball, great arm strength, great mechanics, great footwork. I'm really excited about CJ Carr, and I think he'll put the nation on notice early on in the 2025 season. And then this defense, again, Marcus Freeman's a defensive guy, so you know the defense is going to be good. Again, they embody that physical, gritty, tough mindset that Marcus Freeman wants to have for his team. Again, a lot of these guys you saw step up big in the playoff run just because of injuries and such, like Jason Onye and Eric Martin. All these guys played significant snaps just because of injuries to some of their top guys. And then, oh no, they lost Rubio. That's right. Where's Bryce Young? There he is. Bryce Young, very talented. I think a 77 is way too low for him. I think he's a very talented young guy. Obviously 6'7", 273, that works. But I think he'll play way above this 77 overall rating this year, and I think he'll play significant snaps as well. And then obviously the interior of this defensive line, a lot of people are probably going to see this as a weakness just because they lost so much production. But again, the guys that played in the playoff run due to injury, they played extremely well. So I'm not worried about this interior of this defensive line at all. Jaden Osbury, again, played a lot of snaps, very talented. Let's see. And then do they really? So they have Junior Tuihalamaka listed as a right edge and as a third string. I think he'll play more at the outside linebacker spot than rush D end. Or I'm sorry, right D end. But he's very talented. He stepped up big in that playoff run, and I don't think they're giving him enough credit in 82 overall. I think that just shows how deep Notre Dame is on the defensive line, that Junior Tuihalamaka is all the way down here at third. Boubacar Traore, also very good in that playoff run. Let's see. And then, of course, you have to get to the secondary. So Leonard Moore was a true freshman last year and stepped up big with Benjamin Morrison going down and just being bothered by a hip injury all season long. He's physical. He's long. Love this guy. He played some great pass defense in that Penn State game, but also he is not afraid at all to come up and play the run. Love Leonard Moore. I could absolutely see him being the next Benjamin Morrison, like just top cornerback in the country. And then he's down here at the 6th spots. Devontae Smith comes over from Alabama. Not Devontae Smith, the Heisman winner, but Devontae Smith, the nickelback. Again, very talented. He's not going to be the best in pass coverage, so don't expect him to go lock down, the opposing team's number one wide receiver or anything. But for playing down in the box and again playing physical, gritty football, that's going to be Devontae Smith. So I think the Irish fans may not be familiar with him right now, but you will be that by the end of the year, and absolutely love him. I wonder why he's listed at the 6th corner. I'm going to move him up to corner 3, and then I believe now in the game they have slot corner. Yeah, okay, he's listed at the slot. So that works. And then sub linebacker. Okay, I think that's everything and then just make sure CJ Carr. Cool. All right, and then now we'll talk about the Miami Hurricanes. Obviously, their big offseason move was getting Carson Beck from the transfer portal from Georgia, throwing the entire bag of money at him. I believe his NIL deal is somewhere near $4 million for this 1 year he'll play for the Hurricanes. They desperately needed a new quarterback. They saw that in the bowl game whenever Emory Williams came in the second half of the Pop-Tart Bowl. No offense to Emory Williams, but just where this team wants to be, they needed a little bit more at the quarterback position. I think Miami kind of sees this year as a big year for them, and I don't want to say it's their window, but I think this is a prime year for the Hurricanes if they are going to contend for a national title, just with where their roster is at. So Carson Beck, I have very mixed feelings on him. I think he has a lot of good tools. I don't know if he necessarily puts them together as often as he should. He's tall. He's got a strong arm. He just makes some really bad mistakes sometimes. Whenever it's bad with Carson Beck, it's really bad. But whenever it's good, it's pretty good. So I like this move by the Hurricanes, going out and getting him and replacing the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft, Cam Ward. And obviously going into 2025, you honestly would have thought Carson Beck would have been the number 1 overall pick. So I think he brings a lot of leadership to this team. I think he'll be great for the Hurricanes. I don't know how high his ceiling is. I could see him being a second or a third or maybe a fourth round NFL draft pick. I don't know if he'll end up being a first rounder, but maybe he'll have a Cam Ward, meteoric rise and end up being a first round quarterback. But great pickup for the Hurricanes. Mark Fletcher has a lot of experience at running back position, has played a lot of football for the Miami Hurricanes, Fort Lauderdale. So yeah, he's a South Florida kid. Definitely embodies that just as a tough physical, but also whenever he gets into the open field, he can definitely turn on the afterburners for sure. So the wide receiver core is interesting for the Hurricanes. So they bring over CJ Daniels, who is a transfer. They also bring in, let's see, Tony Johnson, who is also a transfer, and he actually went to the same high school that I did. So that's pretty cool. And then where is he? Joshua Moore. So he is a true freshman, but from what I'm hearing outside of camp, he is very talented. He's a Miami hometown kid. He's really been putting on a show, I've been hearing. Oh, whoops, I can't make changes to the other team's depth chart, but I was going to move him up. Very talented. I think he should play. He's going to play meaningful snaps, especially since I've heard, I think their wide receiver core is dealing with a little bit of injury, so he's going to be playing snaps whether they necessarily intended it to or not. But I think he, especially at 6'4", 205, like he's got the size already to play, so I think it'll be totally fine. The wide receiver core, they have a lot of transfers, but all of their transfers have played a lot of football. Tony Johnson, or no, I'm sorry, I mentioned him. But Keelan Marion is also a transfer. So they've got at least 3 transfers and then a true freshman. Josiah Trader was the only one that was there last year. So they have a lot of production to replace from last year's team, but I think they can do it. Let's see. The offensive line is going to be very good. Samson Okunlola was a highly rated recruit, but their starter at left tackle will be Markel Bell. And then obviously the other big one is Francis Mauigoa, former 5-star recruit, and is going to be a top 10 probably NFL draft pick as long as he stays healthy. Big physical dude, has been starting since he was a freshman. Very smart, very physical, exactly what you want in an offensive lineman, and especially has been developed really, really well by Mario Cristobal, a former offensive lineman himself. But this offensive line, they bring over James Brockermeyer from TCU, and then he was also at Georgia or Tennessee before that. Let's see. I have the roster pulled up. Alabama. So he started his career at Alabama, then went to TCU, and then he transferred over to Miami for his last year of eligibility. Has played a lot of football. But yeah, this offensive line is going to be very, very solid and is going to help out Carson Beck maybe reach his full potential. Honestly, probably even better than Cam Ward had last year. Then this defense was that was really the limiting factor last year for the Hurricanes, and where maybe they didn't reach the playoffs. Is because their offense could score points, but their defense couldn't stop anyone. So Reuben Bain Jr. was one of the standouts from last year's team. Again, he has the possibility to be a very high draft pick. The interior of this defensive line has a lot to prove. They bring over David Blay Jr., who is a transfer. But I think the biggest question mark is going to be the secondary. So they bring over 5 different transfers in this secondary, or I'm sorry, 6 different transfers in the secondary. Sorry, I'm bouncing all around. I need to mention Wesley Besainth. Obviously, he's very talented as well. I could see him being a first or second round draft pick. One of probably the other bright spot from last year's team. But at corner, so OJ Frederick was here last year. Ethan Connor is a transfer. Let's see. And then Xavier Lucas is a transfer, and Keontae Scott is a transfer. So a lot of new faces, and I think that's extremely tough, and honestly something that doesn't get talked about enough in college football is the secondary has to have a lot of chemistry. So this is a little concerning, just with different rotations and what they're seeing and calling out coverages and passing off zones. The secondary has to have a lot of communication and a lot of chemistry. So it's going to be interesting how, while these people have all played a decent amount of football in their careers, how is that going to translate onto the field? So you have Zachariah Poyser, who's also a transfer, and then I believe, Jacoby Thomas is also a transfer. So they bring a lot of good experience, but how well are they going to be able to gel? And is it going to be able to supplement the offense enough? I think the offense will take probably at least half a step back, if not a full step back. But can the defense kind of step up, one or two steps to compensate? Because they were really bad last year. Yeah. Oh, and then the other thing that I want to mention is not the biggest deal, but at kicker, Miami also brings over Burt Auburn from Texas after making a run to the semifinals. I think there was just a lot of bad kind of mental juju there with the Texas Longhorns for Burt Auburn. So totally understand his transfer. Kicking is really, really mental, so I totally understand his maybe mental concerns or negative mental emotional feelings being back at Texas, given some of the kicks that he missed against Arizona State and Ohio State. So, all right, with that, we will jump into the game.
The Canes will kick this deep to get us going. Fielded in the end zone. It's Price.
That's interesting. They have Jadarian Price on returns. I think I'll probably sub him out.
So Notre Dame's offense comes onto the field for the first time today. And each offense features a star tight end.
I do think it's advantageous for Notre Dame, actually, their first tough road game. I think it's interesting that it's against Miami, because Miami's home field is actually about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on traffic, sometimes an hour, away from their campus. So the home field advantage is, if you're going to play a tough team, a top 10 team, I know they're not top 10 in the game, but they are in the recent preseason polls, and a lot of people have them in their top 10s. This is probably the one that you want to play on the road if you have to play any of them. I'd rather go to Miami than have to play at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa or Death Valley, either one of the Death Valleys, or Jeremiah Love is extremely good in this game. He has so much power, but he also has a lot of twitch. I remember early on in the Penn State game, he tried to hit a spin move from his bad knee. Not a lot of options. Oh my goodness, that was luck. That should have been intercepted 1,000%. But Jeremiah Love has a lot of twitch. He's able to make guys miss, and whenever he doesn't, he's able to just flat out run over them. So I think early on in the game, Notre Dame will try to run the ball, especially testing out that mostly new Miami Hurricanes defense, and especially whenever you have such a talented backfield with Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, and who was their third running back that I mentioned? I don't think it's Aeneas Williams. Aeneas Williams is not getting enough credit. Honestly, I'm surprised he didn't transfer, given all the talent that is ahead of him, but he is only a sophomore, and Jeremiah Love is almost certainly gone after this year, as well as Jadarian Price. And I think running back is, in the NIL era, is probably the position that I would still like. The philosophy of the position hasn't changed as much. And what I mean by that is, with the transfer portal and with NIL, no one wants to be a second string quarterback anymore. Like, that's just not, it's not a thing to have a backup quarterback anymore, unless he's a true freshman or maybe a true sophomore. But running back, people want to be kept fresh, especially with the 12-team playoff. People are now playing 15, 16 games. So I think it's almost a little bit more like the NFL, of people are totally fine being a third stringer at the running back position, just to help keep the team healthy and such.
Things just appeared to be a bit out of sync from the get-go.
And I think this Notre Dame defense is going to... Marcus Freeman likes to play aggressive. It'll be interesting to see Al Golden going to the NFL. He's now the defensive coordinator for the Bengals, and he was their defensive coordinator last year. Al Golden, it's actually funny I'm talking about him in this game. He was the head coach of the Hurricanes for a while. But Al Golden was a big part of that Notre Dame team's success last year. I think maybe more than people are giving him credit for. So it'll be interesting to see how the Notre Dame team adapts. Who did they bring in? It doesn't say on my... which, obviously Marcus Freeman's a great defensive mind in himself, but it'll be interesting to see how that team does. I think they will definitely miss Al Golden, but they are very talented, so I don't know if they'll necessarily miss it too much. I keep trying to run play action, but so far this secondary is seeming to click pretty well. That's a side. Let's see. This is obviously a situation you don't want to have a young quarterback in, a 3rd and long. At least we're around the midfield mark. So looks like cover 1, so I'm kind of thinking Fields may be open on this kind of fade route.
To throw, it's Carr.
Gonna throw it to the tight end underneath.
Here's a throw underneath to the tight end. They'll stop him short. The completion gained 5 yards, but brings up 4th down. Punt team ready to boot it away.
Actually, let's do backspin. And bad punt. Oh, I didn't realize he was going to return that. That's crazy. Jane Greathouse. Since we're in the first game of the season for Notre Dame, I'm going to go ahead and substitute just to keep our guys healthy. The Notre Dame team was very selective whenever they blitzed last year, so I'm going to try to replicate that a little bit.
Offense out for the first play of the drive, beginning at the 22. From the shotgun, it's a handoff.
Hey, it's a great job of this defense containing the running game. But if I'm calling the plays,
I think Notre Dame has the talent to keep up with the Irish in man, so I'm going to run a cover 1 man here.
Quarterback looking to throw it on 2nd down.
Also helps whenever you get a sack.
How about Notre Dame sending a backer? Here he comes.
I think that'll be one of the matchups to watch is a Notre Dame defensive line that's replacing a lot of production from last year's team, and a Miami team that has a really, really good offensive line. I think that'll be one of the keys to the game is can Notre Dame generate pressure on Carson Beck?
Trying to overcome that sack. This is going to be really difficult. Now in 3rd and very long, looking to throw. That's reeled in. It's Joseph. The reception nets about 7 yards, but 4th down coming up here. The Hurricanes will have to kick it away. We're going to kick it away for the 2nd time. And the returner brought down by the coverage team.
Let's see. I mean, since the run keeps working, I think I'll just keep sticking with that. Let's go strong power out of pistol.
That was a quick 3 and out. Can they get a drive going this time? And the single back takes the handoff.
Yeah, if there's any other running back in the game, there's no way he gains a single yard on that. 2nd and 6, I'm probably going to run the ball again just because it's the strength of our team. So, and they haven't necessarily proven the ability to stop the run yet, so why not? Why not keep running it down their throats?
Out of the shotgun, he hands it off. Getting close to midfield.
Perfect. 3rd and 1.
Well, they didn't bust that for a big play, but it makes this 3rd down coming up a little bit more manageable.
Let's try read option.
Certainly has a lot of value.
And if this was real life, I like the play call. I'm just not the greatest at running read option. So perfect. CJ Carr does have a little bit of athleticism to him, so he will be able to run some read options and stuff like that.
And he didn't mess around. He got between the
They really want me to run play action here.
every single yard.
All right, let's do play action slide. It'll be interesting to see the protection on this. Yep. Oh.
So, Kirk, as we hit the quarter break here, Notre Dame has the lead. Let's check out the stats now through the opening period. Plenty of time for some plot twists here as we begin the second quarter.
Let's try a shot here.
First play of the quarter, the offense has
I'm thinking Y may be open here. Probably go Y. Yep.
Taking a deep shot here to the right.
Bad throw by my part.
That one is incomplete.
Well, they don't make the completion here. The timing seemed to be off between a quarterback and receiver. But man, this
let's go quarterback rep. Let's run a design quarterback run.
Got a lot of time back there to throw the ball.
I could definitely see them doing a lot of quarterback runs. It obviously just puts a lot of stress on the defense, and it'll test kind of that chemistry early whenever you have to account basically for an 11th man on offense.
And he'll drop back here on third down.
Oh, don't like this. Don't like
Defense is
this.
coming after him. Heavy pressure
Oh,
lets
no.
it go. And is intercepted.
Oh, no.
Touchdown, Miami.
Well, we do have a redshirt freshman starting at quarterback, so he sometimes makes bad decisions.
Now the defense on the other side comes up with a turnover and a touchdown to tie the game, and they're an extra point away from taking the lead.
Automatic on the PAT. The PAT ties the game here in the second quarter now. Kickoff team out there, they are fired up after just scoring a touchdown. Fields it just outside the goal line. The big tackle at the
I think a lot of people are maybe giving this Miami team a little too much credit.
first play of this drive from the 18.
I don't know if I see them as a top 10 team. I think... Oh, did not realize that guy was running out. Is that going to be DPI? Yeah. I got bailed out there. But I don't know if this Miami team's the top 10 team. I think kind of on paper they're a very good team, and I think like in the video game I think they're a very good team. I just need to see some improvement, honestly, from Mario Cristobal. I think he's a great recruiter and such, but I feel like his teams, especially going back to his Oregon days, I feel like they don't necessarily produce on the level that maybe their recruiting star ratings should. So I would like to see a big step from Mario Cristobal, because I think the sport is more entertaining when Miami's good, and whenever teams can't just come into Miami and poach whatever recruits they want. I think that's really good for the game. I just need to see a little bit of improvement from Mario Cristobal. I feel like his teams consistently are making mental errors that they shouldn't, and that does ultimately go back onto the coaching.
Defense stops him, but that's a solid game.
Yeah. Jeremiah Love has 92 yards and a touchdown in the first half. This is absolutely realistic. Oh no! Oh, 4th and 2. I think I got to get points here. After the first drive, I haven't improved the ability to run the ball. I haven't kicked a ton of field goals in this game, so I may struggle with this one. I don't know what this is. Is that like some kind of freezing animation or some ability thing? I don't know.
Snap, the hold, the kick, everything there perfect to put 3 points up here for the offense.
He'll bring it out from his end zone. Tackle at the 12. The coach wishes he left that one in the end zone.
I really like Marcus Freeman too. I think he's probably one of my favorite coaches in all of college football. I love his mentality. I think he's exactly what Notre Dame needs, and I think he can kind of help shift the perception of Notre Dame and maybe a lot of the hate that Notre Dame gets. Marcus Freeman is such a likable guy that he's. How can you not? Oh, nice, great pick.
He fires this throw and is intercepted. And he's wrapped up after a solid return.
Well, the quarterback ends up being a tad aggressive. And he ends
That guy
up
looks a
paying
lot
for it.
like Jack Kaiser from last year's
That
team.
might be part of his playing style.
Jack Kaiser was a huge part of that Notre Dame defense last year and a huge reason why they made it all the way to the championship.
Shotgun formation. Here's an inside give.
Yeah, CJ Carr's a little cold here, so I may try to let me try this RPO real quick just to try to get CJ Carr not cold.
Grab behind the line. It's Pauling. He'll be taken down, but he does have first down yardage.
And let's go back to the run. Thinking about starting to chew the clock just to
Looking for a gap.
get the ball and get the game to half. Yeah, let me do that. How do I get back to coach adjustments? Chew clock. And so that'll take us to a 2-minute timeout. Maybe try to
We've reached the 2-minute timeout. We'll see if the offense here can arm this lead before the break.
let's run the ball again. Maybe get them to use a timeout. So then it makes it a little bit harder for them to go down the field and score, which the CPU is really good at. Perfect, got a first down. Sick.
This will set up a first and goal.
Yep, there goes the timeout by Miami. Perfect, exactly what I want to do.
This close game with halftime approaching. Notre Dame lining up now for a first and goal.
I think in terms of non-quarterbacks going into next year, I think Jeremiah Love has to be one of the favorites to win the Heisman. He's just so talented and just such a huge part of that Notre Dame team. I can see him putting up some ridiculous numbers, kind of like Ashton Genty did, especially since they're going to have a young quarterback, whether they go with Minchie or Carr. So I think Jeremiah Love's absolutely should be a Heisman favorite. Outside of candidates, obviously, like Arch Manning. As I've said in several videos and my live stream, I got really lucky. Anytime I throw number 2, I get extremely lucky. I don't think Garrett Nussmeier should be has as big of Heisman potential as a lot of people may think. Yeah, Josh, good question. So to win the real game, I'm probably going to go with Notre Dame. Being on the road is tough, yes, but like I mentioned earlier, it's not a great home field advantage for the Hurricanes. They also have a lot of new pieces that are going to have to gel together really quickly. And I think just their ability to run the ball, anytime you have the ability to run the ball, that increases your chances to win. And I think Notre Dame will have a lot easier time running the ball against Miami than Miami will have a harder time running the ball against this Notre Dame defense. A lot of people are really talking about how much production on defense this Notre Dame team lost. But like I said a few times, the second and third stringers that came in due to injury in that playoff run looked really good. So I'm not too worried about the production they lost. And also I love their corner. Oh man, of course I can't remember his name right now. Let's see, their cornerback, their great true sophomore, Leonard Moore. He's amazing, and I think he'll take a big step in year 2.
And the offense just missed a huge opportunity for a big play. We're going to have to make some adjustments there and maybe go back to that play and see if they can come up with a big opportunity.
Lets it go quickly. Oh, he makes the catch. He stopped in.
I just think with all the new pieces that Miami has and to get them all to gel, I think it's going to be really tough, especially in week 1. I think they maybe will hit their strides going down the stretch, especially with the experience that they have. And anytime you have a great offensive line, that's going to put you in games. But is the Miami defense going to show enough improvement to help that team get to the playoff for the first time? I don't think they'll show that improvement in week 1, but I definitely think they have potential going down the stretch, especially in a weaker ACC. Oh, I almost had that one.
They bring it down after a short gain there.
And here the tight end shows off his hands for a nice game.
I think the Florida game, Miami has to go to Miami, I believe week 2 or 3. It's week 3, yeah. Florida plays Long Island and then USF.
inside the 10. Here we go. First and goal. A touchdown here gets them right back into this game.
They're going to spike the ball. They're taking a few extra seconds. Oh, he's not.
And it's incomplete. Tried to lob the ball up there, but
Was that a fake? Oh, it was slants.
Just a misfire here by the quarterback. These are tight windows, man. They open and close so quickly. You got to almost anticipate.
I kind of hope, honestly, that Miami does win the game, just because I think it'll show that Mario Cristobal has taken another step as a coach himself. And like I said, I genuinely want Miami to be good, because I think it's good for the sport. I just, maybe I'm biased just because I live in Oregon and I know the distaste that Oregon fans have for Mario Cristobal for leaving them. But I just, I think Mario Cristobal very much has a lot to prove that he is in that top tier of coaches. Which I think Dan Lanning has already proved at Oregon, and I think that's a common maybe misconception, or maybe undue hate for Dan Lanning, is a lot of people think he can't win the big game, when he has consistently taken another step forward every year he's been in Eugene for the Ducks. You know, I remember his first year, you know, he lost to Washington twice, and then the following year he was able to beat Washington, and then last year he beat Ohio State at home, and he beat Penn State in the Big Ten Championship. He was able to grind out a win on the road against Wisconsin. That honestly, that Wisconsin team shouldn't have even been in, but still, it's tough to grind out games and win any game, and especially against a Power 4 team on the road in the fourth quarter. So I think that's impressive in itself, and so I think Dan Lanning, I think he's going to take another step forward this year. Obviously, I'm really excited about week 1. We are, 22 days away from week 1. I know there's week 0, Farmageddon in Dublin, which I don't know why it cracks me up every time I say that out loud, is Farmageddon in Dublin. For those of you that don't know, Farmageddon is the rivalry between Iowa State and Kansas State. And that game is going to be played on week 0, which is going to be August 23rd. And that's going to be in Dublin, Ireland. Not Dublin, Georgia, Dublin, Ireland. So that'll be interesting. I think it's even more interesting because it's honestly an extremely critical game for both teams. Both teams, I think, have the potential to win the Big 12, which isn't saying much because a lot of teams have potential to win the Big 12, just with how wide open that conference is. But that's a really important game that has end-of-season implications, so it's really tough to be playing that. First of all, week 0. Second of all, you know, on an entirely different continent. But I think it should be a good show for the Irish fans. I know the NFL has been trying to increase its international footprint with recent games in Brazil and Germany and England, and then I believe this upcoming year there's going to be a game in Spain and games in Mexico City. So it's cool to see, and I think it's also really cool to give these kids that, you know, may not have had the opportunity to travel internationally before, to give them an opportunity to explore the world a little bit. I think it's great all around. Man, I should have had that sack there. I'm going to bring a blitz here. I don't know why they're running hurry up. They're only down by a score in the third quarter. And Miami is definitely not a hurry up team. But run up the middle. Oh. And then obviously other week 1 games that I have already had live streams for. So if you haven't already, go check those out. I played the Texas-Ohio State game, and I think Texas is going to win that one. I've been rewatching the playoff games this week, and Texas's offense is so fun to watch and just so hard to defend against. Steve Sarkisian loves to have lots of motions and misdirection, and he does a phenomenal job of out leveraging the defense. There was one play where the tight end went in motion and went left, right, and then left again, and then it ended up being a run. It was just, it's so hard to defend against. And they're able to adapt so quickly. And I think Arch Manning has the capability, both the physical and the mental capability, to really dominate in that offense. So I think, especially with all the pieces that the Buckeyes have to replace, I think I'm leaning towards Texas winning that game in the Horseshoe in Columbus week 1. Then I also played Clemson LSU. And I am going to pick the home team in that one, which is the Clemson Tigers. Garrett Nussmeier, I don't know if you've heard this week, is dealing with some patellar tendonitis. He was, I believe, carted off the field on Wednesday, so that scared a lot of LSU fans. But Brian Kelly said yesterday that is something that Garrett Nussmeier deals with a lot, so it's not a new injury, and he should be fine. So I just also think that Clemson is more talented than LSU is. That's probably going to be a hot take. I think Cade Klubnik is a better quarterback than Garrett Nussmeier. I think that the LSU Tigers probably have the advantage whenever it comes to running back, because I think the Clemson Tigers may be starting a freshman at running back. But they've proven in the past before that that's not a problem for them. I think they have great wide receivers that we haven't seen since the Trevor Lawrence days, and with Ross and T. Higgins. So also that Tigers defense, the Clemson Tigers defense, is ridiculous. And kind of a similar story to Miami, the LSU Tigers, they got a bunch of flashy new toys in their defense, and I think way better toys, if I'm being honest, and Mansour Delane and a Florida transfer at the edge. And they also brought over, not Marvin Jones, they brought in a Florida State edge as well that's very talented. So it's the biggest question of that game is how well are those pieces going to be able to gel? I mean, the LSU defense has been so bad for the last few years. Are they going to be able to improve enough? I think the offense is going to be great for LSU. While I say that Garrett Nussmeier isn't a Heisman contender, I think he's a very good college quarterback. So that's going to be very tough to defend. But there's a big difference between being a Heisman contender and being a good college quarterback. That I don't know if Garrett Nussmeier has that it factor. And especially now with this patellar tendonitis, the fact that he was carted off, or the fact that it was kind of made into a big deal, makes me think it's not just a day-to-day thing. So I think this will still be affecting him come week 1. So especially with Garrett Nussmeier not at 100%, I think I'm giving the nod to the Clemson Tigers. And then, like I said, in this game, I'm picking the Irish just with their experience, their great defense, and I love their coach, Marcus Freeman. So I think the nod for the advantage in coaching goes to Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman.
Explosive play, but sometimes it's just about getting what you can and keep the drive moving.
How this game is also played out is I can absolutely see the playing out this way in real life. Notre Dame jumping out to an early lead, and then Miami with their experience and talent kind of making some adjustments at the half and coming back, I think is absolutely realistic.
That's exactly what we saw right there.
It keeps working out whenever I bring pressure, so I'm going to bring, or no, I guess I'm just playing man here. I think after this play. Let's go King Dog. Oh, fumble. Nice. That is the one thing that this game hasn't had, especially being week 1. I think there's going to be a lot of turnovers, just with, especially the Notre Dame defense. They created a lot of turnovers last year, and that's something that Marcus Freeman is really good at coaching. So I think there's going to be a few turnovers created by the Irish defense. Let's see. I don't know what I like here. Probably why? Corner? Great defense by the corner. That corner's tall and long.
completion. The lineup here for a third and
I think I'm in 4-down territory here, so I'm gonna run the ball here,
from the shotgun. Here's an inside
and I
give.
get it. So not even needed to be a question anyway. Stiff arm.
He goes. Enough to move the 6 there. Sets up first and goal at the 7.
And let's feed him while he's hot.
The defense fortunate to be able to bring him down inside the 10-yard line, but it's first and goal for the offense.
First and goal, they'll try to run it in. Touchdown, Irish. And they jump on top here in the second half.
Yeah, I think in real life, if Jeremiah Love goes for 140 and 2 touchdowns, Miami would be in a very bad situation. I don't think the game would be this close if they let Jeremiah Love get that many yards.
Kickoff team out there, they are fired up after just scoring a touchdown.
I am excited to see Carson Beck in a more pass-friendly offense. I'm not saying Georgia doesn't pass the ball, because they absolutely do. They do a lot of really impressive stuff with play action and throwing the defense off, so then you can't just 1,000% play downhill and stop their run game. And I don't know if Carson Beck is getting enough credit for just how bad that Georgia run offense was last year. It's extremely tough no matter who the quarterback is if you can't run the ball, especially when that's kind of your identity, like the Bulldogs have. I think they were somewhere in like the 80s or 90th in yards per carry last year, and that's just not the Georgia standard that we've become used to. And they just didn't have the wide receivers with the talent to throw the ball 30, 40 times a game and not be able to run the ball. So the Bulldogs definitely fixed that this year. They went out and got Zachariah Branch from USC and Noah Thomas from Texas A&M, who is a freak. If you haven't seen him yet, definitely go check him out. Noah Thomas, he's just a big body wide receiver with great hands, and also has some wheels as well. He's really fast. So I think he's going to be great for the Bulldogs. 3rd and 1, nice. Okay, let's go. I'll go 5-2. I don't really care because I really want to get the stop here. Let's go fire zone. I really want to get the stop here, and I think they're going to run the ball up the middle, so I'm going to pinch my D-line. And I'll play D-tackle. Nice. That's so nice that they, in this game, they made it so you can actually stop quarterback sneaks. Last year's game, I definitely abused that when I was playing Dynasty and stuff. Anytime I needed a yard, I would just go quarterback sneak every time. But I'm glad they fixed that in the game this year. Ooh. Great play. Who was that? Yeah, Ruben Bain. Or no. Yeah, Ruben Bain. Let's go RPO. Ooh, I like these numbers. 3/2 here. That should work out really well. And by 3/2, I meant there were only 2 Hurricane defenders for three Notre Dame receivers. After that voice crack, I'm going to take a drink of water.
They might be really just out to run the football here with the lead, but instead they're electing to throw the football.
Oh no, Jeremiah Love is hurt. Oh no. That's not good.
Looks like a player is down injured at that last play. We'll take a timeout while they check it out. The punt team making their way on the field. He's on to boot it away now. Trying to return the punt for some extra yardage. Returner tackler right there.
Oh man, this is tough. Yeah, let's go ahead and keep him in the game, just because, especially if we get a stop here, we're really going to need to be able to run the ball and run the clock out. Yeah, they're going to go 5 wide, probably all the way.
Back to throw. It's Speck. The sure hands. It's Lyle. Finally make the stop right near midfield. It'll be first down.
This is all you can hope for, really. The defense does their job.
If I was in a better position on that play, that would have been a lot better.
It's up to this quarterback and this offense to deliver, and they're off to a good start here.
And looking to throw now on first down.
Ooh, thank goodness he broke that up.
That's on the receiver.
Should have been way closer in. I had the ability. I was kind of trying to lurk the quarterback, but
The quarterback time.
he was way further than I intended.
Throws it to his guy, and the receiver drops it. Now he's going to have to
Run
shake
the
that
ball?
off and
Yeah,
get
should have
ready
known
to
better.
make that next play.
And he dumps it off to the tight end. We'll get him back.
That's a really cool animation where they can actually stretch out the ball now to pick up a first down.
This is why running
Anytime I sit back in zone, I feel like they're just
the ball
not.
play action.
I feel like they're
The eyes of the safeties
it's
and linebackers and
not
frees
as
up
good
some
as whenever I
space
actually
for the
bring
tight end
pressure,
to be able to pick
which is
up.
weird because I don't think it's a skill thing. I think it's just or I'm sorry, it's not a. I think Notre Dame is perfectly capable of getting pressure with 4 against Miami.
At the 19, but this offense now has a first down in the red zone.
Yeah, this is also why I didn't want to chew clock, because I kind of thought that Miami would be able to run the ball. So I wanted to give myself enough time.
Handoff here from the shotgun. And he's stopped at the line of scrimmage. The
That's
defense
fine. I'm
swarming him that time.
totally fine. In real life, Notre Dame would play this game just not to lose. This would be a big win for them. And honestly, their schedule isn't that tough down the stretch. So I was listening to Andy and Ari earlier today, and they pulled up Notre Dame's schedule. If Notre Dame loses both of their first 2 games, which is Miami and Texas A&M, then and if they win out and go 10-2, their best win would be over USC, and then not a whole lot after that. Maybe an NC State, maybe a Stanford, maybe a Boston College. So I think Notre Dame really needs to win at least Texas A&M or Miami. If they do, then I think that means look at me go with a user lurk. If they're able to win both of those games, I think they're cruising to the playoffs. If they win one of those games, I think they're very likely cruising to the playoffs. But if they don't win, if they lose both of those games, the Irish are going to be in trouble. I think they would have to hope for Oregon to have a third loss, or whoever the third team is in the Big Ten. I think they'll have to. The Notre Dame Irish would be hoping for them to, have at least 3 losses. I don't know. Man, that's even a debate in itself. Does a 3-loss Big Ten team get in over a 2-loss Miami team with only 1 quality win? I think if Oregon is the 3rd best Big Ten team and they have 3 losses, I think Notre Dame gets in above them, just because, again, Oregon kind of has a favorable schedule too. Oh my gosh, I almost just lost the game there. Oh man. But what happens if it's Ohio State that has 3 losses and Oregon and Penn State are the top 2 seeds? I think it's an interesting debate. I don't know why you're running the ball here if you're Miami.
Teams freeing up the backers and make the play.
Now they've got to hustle to the line and get set. Second down, we're going to throw it. Looking for the wide out. Catch made in space. Look out. And a quick timeout call by the offense after the play, trying to preserve as much clock as possible. Tight game. Final 2 minutes. Can the offense make a play here? And they desperately need it.
I think Miami is very likely to make their first playoff appearance this year, just because they have a pretty favorable schedule. Obviously, the ACC is not as strong as the SEC and the Big Ten. But, oh man, I should have had that one. But again, every year Mario Cristobal's been at Miami, he has fumbled the ball. So I need to see proof that he can take a team to the playoff and actually get all those recruiting stars to perform at the level that they should. I probably shouldn't go Tampa 2 here. Yeah, I'm going to pass it. On the ball. That's fine.
Chris, I'm shocked by this. I mean, this is a great touchdown by this offense. They're an extra point away from tying this game up. We may be headed to overtime.
And the important PAT is up and good. We're tied in the fourth. We got momentum after scoring that touchdown.
I do think that's really realistic for the Hurricanes to be able to be down late and score late just with all the experience that they have, and especially with a guy like Carson Beck, you know, who has played a lot of college football. I'm not gonna play for overtime. Man, I said they would play not to lose though. Let's try this RPO. Let's try.
The first play of the drive now from the 25. They start the drive with a good throw to the right.
Am I still on shoot clock?
Timeout is called. They'll talk it over time late here in the fourth quarter.
Just a good job here by the
Like 52 seconds, like that's a decent amount of time.
This guy eats up some yards.
And especially like if you're just gonna play, like if you're gonna play that far back,
Dropping back. It's Carr.
then let me.
Out the catch made. The runner steps out of bounds, but
Let's see what else we got.
enough yardage to pick up the first down.
You call a quick out on third down. I think that tells you the confidence you have in a quarterback to be able to make that throw. And on top of that, a little surprised
let me
the
get the.
defense would give that kind of cushion to be able to.
Yeah, if they're just gonna give me that much cushion, like I'll keep taking 7 yards down the field. Like 46 seconds and we're almost in midfield. Like this is absolutely doable here. See, now they're starting to come back down finally. This is where it's going to get a little bit tougher. I think I'm going to go to the tight end over the middle, and then I'll just call a timeout. Yep. Call a second timeout. Okay, so now let's go just double post. Are you going to go back to playing off?
Set with a first and 10 now. And he drops back in the gun. He's looking deep here.
Oh man, he should have caught it. Oh man, I had him.
Oh my gosh, the defense busting coverage.
Oh man.
Receiver wide open and boy,
Oh, I should have had that one. Should have had that one.
Wants to throw it on second down.
Can you get out of bounds? No. Let's just go hurry up. Try to save a timeout.
Gets them a few yards.
And then let's go verticals.
Third down, out of the shotgun. Short pass finds the tight end.
I need a few more yards.
First down yardage. They're going quickly here. They need a few more yards to make this a more confident.
I mean, 9 seconds.
Pushes the ball back.
I mean, I could get lucky here. And
Looking downfield near the end zone.
okay, it is officially Hail Mary time, and then we'll go to overtime. Man, if I didn't take that sack, that would have been totally it.
It's another deep shot.
And I didn't even make it to the end zone. All right, overtime.
Incomplete. Now we're headed to overtime. So tied up after regulation, we go to overtime. Remember, in college football, it's
Let's get some water for this overtime.
The second overtime, if we get there, you have to go for 2 points if you score a touchdown. And the third overtime just becomes a series of 2-point tries.
and I know that's your favorite. See if we can get to that third series of these overtime.
In hindsight, probably should have run the ball a little bit more in the second half. I don't think I ran the ball enough. That's cool. You can actually win the toss. I want to play defense first because I want to know what Miami needs to. That's really cool that they added that. Man, I love this game. They made a bunch of small changes from last year's game that was already great. And just stuff like that is just so much more fun. So I'm going to go the sim pressure 3 because bringing pressure has seemed to work a little bit better for us. And I kind of like this being in the A gap, especially on the RPO. Perfect. Good job.
This one goes nowhere. Lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Let's see. I don't like his. Yeah, let's go with this DB blitz. We're playing cover 3. Yeah, let's. I think this pink means I play match coverage on this. Oh. Ooh. Although I was there, that would have been complete, that would have been fine. It's tough because I kind of just want to make them kick a field goal. But I think to do that, I think I have to bring a little bit of pressure.
But they don't want to make a mistake. You've got to give your kicker a chance here. Back to pass. It's back.
Screen. Perfect. That's fine.
The receiver on the screen. The defense stops him short of the marker, so it's 4th down coming up. So now the field goal team is out here trying to take the lead here in overtime. Mid kick right down the middle. Can't hit it any better than that.
All right. Let's see if I can score a touchdown, or at least
Oh, Chris, it's a nice kick here.
send it to double overtime. Although I obviously want to score a touchdown here. All right, let's start off with a run. Let's fix the mistake that I made in the second half of not running the ball enough with Jeremiah Love, one of the best players in college football.
Handoff from the shotgun.
3 yards, it's fine. Okay, let's go drive. I got a lot of underneaths, and has that red zone post route out of the backfield. Oh, he just cooked him.
Taking a shot
Touchdown?
toward the end zone.
Let's game.
And he's in there. Touchdown to win this game in overtime.
Man,
Wow.
good game.
Well, that's a
There's
big
Leonard Moore
game
there.
right there. Good job all around.
I think he'll be one of the best DBs in the country next year.
Quarterback puts it right
So-
on the money. And with this receiver running a route like this, makes it pretty simple. All you have to do is get his head
All
turned
right.
around, catch that football.
Notre Dame wins, just like I think they will do in real life. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Who do you want me, or which week 1 matchup do you guys want me to do next? I'm thinking South Carolina, Virginia Tech. I'm thinking TCU, North Carolina. I'm thinking Farmageddon. I can do Kansas State, Iowa State. Let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching. This has been Zach with the Sports Corner at Choose Adventure Media. And